Hello, young coders. Have you ever wondered how your computer knows when one thing is greater than, less than, or equal to another? It's all done using something called comparison blocks. These are the building blocks that help your program understand comparisons, just like how you would in a math class. Today we're going to explore these 6 comparison blocks. Equals to, not equals to, smaller than or equals to, greater than, and greater than or equals to. These blocks are going to be your best friends when you're playing around with conditions in your code. Think of it as a cricket match where you're constantly comparing scores to decide who's winning. That's precisely how these comparison blocks work in programming, helping your code make decisions based on certain conditions. So, are you ready to play? Let's dive into a familiar scenario to understand them better. Imagine you're playing a cricket game. You've scored 50 runs, but your friend has scored 45. What comparison block would we use here? To answer that, we'd use the greater than block. This block allows us to express that your score is indeed higher than your friend's. It's like saying, my score is greater than yours. And that's exactly what this block represents in our program. Now, let's add a bit of a twist to our cricket match. Your friend hits a 6, and guess what? They've also reached 50 runs. Now, our scores are the same. Here, we'd use the equals to block, which allows us to express that both scores are now equal. But the game isn't over yet. What happens when your friend scores another 6 and reaches 50? We'll find out in the next scene. Stay tuned. Now, both you and your friend have scored 50 runs. Which comparison block applies now? Let's explore. The equals to block comes into play here. This block is used when two values are identical. In our cricket game, your score and your friend's score are the same. You both have 50 runs, so we can say your score equals to your friend's score. But wait, the game isn't over yet. You're still on the pitch and your friend is out. This is where the greater than or equals to block steps in. Your score is currently the same as your friend's, but there's a chance you might score more runs, so your score is greater than or equals to your friend's score. By using these comparison blocks, you're not only mastering a crucial aspect of programming, but also enhancing your strategic thinking in the cricket game. Let's see what happens if your score is less than your friend's. Output. So, you're still playing, but your score is less than your friend's. Which comparison block would we use in this situation? Pondering this, we'd quickly realize the smaller than block is our tool of choice. Like a cricket bat swiftly swooping to hit the ball, we swing into action, comparing our lesser score with our friends. Yet what happens when the game concludes, and alas, your final tally is still less? Here, our trusty smaller than or equals to block comes into play. Like a cricket umpire's decisive call, it affirms our score is indeed less than or equal to our friends'. But, as in cricket, so in coding, the game isn't over until the last ball is bowled. Let's explore another scenario. Our score is not the same as our friends'. We may have scored more, or perhaps less. But the bottom line is, it's different. Lastly, let's consider a situation where your score is not equal to your friends'. Your score is anything but equal to your friends'. Which comparison block applies here? Well, in this situation, the not equals to block is your best friend. This block is used when the two values you're comparing are different from each other. Just like in our cricket game scenario, if your score is 55 and your friend's score is 50, then your score is not equal to your friend's score. And with that, we've covered all the comparison blocks. Equals to, not equals to, smaller than or equals to, greater than, and greater than or equal to. Each block has its own unique application, and they all come together to allow you to make meaningful comparisons in your program. You've just learned how to use comparison blocks in programming. This is a building block of coding, and understanding it gives you a solid foundation. So keep practicing, keep exploring, and until our next video, happy coding.